Welcome to What the Fact. Today's topic is this. The way a language evolves, sort of in real time nowadays as it seems, is a pretty fascinating thing. If you would go backwards in time 50 years from now, you'd have no problem talking to people. Maybe certain words would be more common than others, and there would be words that are virtually not used anymore that they used back then, but you'd be just fine. You'd have to keep in mind, don't ever say things like, I don't know, dude or selfie or internet or, stuff like that, but you would probably manage okay. It would be the same story if you went backwards 100 years or 200 years. The differences between written language and spoken language that far in the past were a lot more than they are today, and it gets more extreme the farther back you go. Several hundred years ago, scholars basically did almost all scientific writing in Latin, not whatever their native tongue was. Now, the English language wasn't just invented one day. English evolved from a language that wasn't English. So as we go farther back in time with the English language, we see it sort of devolving into something that we can't even recognize. Take this passage from the Bible. In modern English, it makes perfect sense. If we rewind the clock a ways, some of the words are different, but it still makes sense. Rewind even further and it starts to make a little less sense, but way back, you can't even recognize any of the words. And language and the Bible is the official topic for today. The what the fact for this video is that the words thee and thou and thine used to be part of common everyday English speech. Today we associate these words with fancy Bible talk, but that wasn't always the case. Languages naturally evolve, and by the 1800s people were using you, yours, and your instead of thee, thine, thou, and whatever else there is. But there weren't any unwritten grammatical rules about how to use those words. People would still use them occasionally. I read somewhere once that it was the King James Bible that changed all of this. The King James Bible used thee and thou and thine only when addressing God. But that's not true. This is a King James Bible, and what I'm going to do is read from the 10 Commandments in here. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou, in that case, is regular people. This is God giving commandments to the Israelites. Or wait, are they the Israelites? I don't know. Whoever they are, they're just ordinary people. It was the New American Standard Bible that changed this. Here the 10 Commandments read, some of the 10 Commandments read, you shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You get the idea. It was here that words such as thee, thine, and thou were used exclusively when addressing God. Those are God's pronouns. Now, this is by no means an official grammatical rule. If you look up the definition of thou, it just says it's an archaic form of the pronoun. But it is basically an unwritten rule, and we all follow these sort of unwritten rules, and nobody really has a problem with it. Frankly, I think the world would be a little more colorful and fun if we just sprinkled in some fancy talk every now and then. Imagine instead of Lego my ego, they said, release thine egged waffle. It's just better, if you ask me. If you haven't already, click on the link in the description for this video to visit my Patreon page, or just go to patreon.com/planetpeterson. Your support allows me to keep making videos and improves this channel in so many ways. You can contribute for as little as 10 cents a day. There are added benefits to being a Patreon member, including suggesting topics for future videos, early access to videos, and more. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the bell so you can be notified when new videos come out. That way you can be one of the very first to view and comment on the video, which makes it way more likely that I will see your comment and be able to respond to you. You can also find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter by searching Planet Peterson. I'll see you next time.